Hello my friends, welcome to the next installment of the Cobra build. I don't know if you can see that, but I have the center cap spinner, the knockoff deal, mounted on this rear wheel here. Rear's no problem at all. They fit super easy. I'll show you the parts here on the front wheel. So what you get, now I purchased these from Team 3 Wheels or ET Mags out in California. Guy's name is Scott. I basically did a search for the Cobra 3 wheels, and these are the spinners that he makes. I mean, he makes wheels, he's a machinist. He custom makes these for the Cobra 3s so that they fit. It says he keeps them in stock. I mean, I think that was quite a few years ago when Cobra 3s were brand new and Factory 5 was just really getting rolling. He used to make these for Factory 5, but they've outsourced theirs. They've gone overseas, kind of copied his design, which is kind of a, little bit of a shameful thing. I'm not knocking Factory 5. I mean, everybody does it, but to go from the little guy manufacturing in the United States to offshore just to, save a few bucks on parts, it's, whatever. Not the best business practice for our country, in my opinion. Sorry, get off my soapbox. Anyway, so you get the cap here, acts like a dust cap, and it's threaded. You get your spinner. I elected for the period appropriate looking, angled. They make these in flat too, but honestly, the flats look kind of crappy in my opinion. And there's a snap ring, so this is pretty simple. This goes in here from the front. Snap ring goes on from behind. This screws in place. Kind of something tricky I kind of have to work out is, problem is this spins with a snap ring on, and you've got to spin this on, and there's even a set screw here in it. But you can only get to 4 lugs, so you have to, it's funny, so you're gonna have to carry a hammer with you if you make these tight to give it a tap if you ever need to remove your wheel for any reason. I've read up on that in some of the Cobra forums, what guys do to to keep this in place, keep it from spinning. I think what I've read, some guys will cut a little slot in here, so if you have to, you can put a screwdriver on it. Obviously, you can only do that with the wheel off. I got to read up on the solutions there. But I'm running into, with these crappy, tiny little Mustang 2 brakes, I got the car from the guy, and there's no dust caps on the front, so that should be your first sign. Or sorry, the center caps. There were no center caps on the wheel. The dust cap was in place, and that should be your sign. And he tells me he doesn't want to run a spacer. Okay. I pop the wheels off. What do I find? There's a spacer. Whatever, is what it is. This is a 1/4 inch spacer. It's fine. It is what it is. What I figured out was this cap will not seat properly. It's close. Without the dust cap, it will seat close, very close. So I'm going to run a bigger spacer. I have these 3/8 inch bare spacers. These are super nice billet aluminum. I had Mustang saves the day yet again. I had these on hand. I was test fitting. I have one long stud here. I am gonna have to run longer studs. These things are tiny, super short, but I have the specs on the studs. I think I'm gonna be able to find something that will work. ARP sells Mustang 2 specific studs, but they're like 65 or 66 bucks for a set of 5. That's pretty expensive, and I don't need 3-inch. I need, about a 2-inch stud. These are about 1 3/4. If I had this much more thread, I think I would be all set. So I'm on the hunt for some longer studs. Spacers kind of get a bad rap. Nothing wrong with running a wheel spacer if necessary. You just need longer studs. That's all. Back in the old days, people would run spacers, small studs, they'd break, whatever, the wheels would fall off. They got a bad rap. Spacers are junk, they're not safe. BS. They're perfectly safe. You run a decent, a high quality spacer, and that in conjunction with a longer stud, and you're all set. So we're working on that. I did get the I Did It steering column just kind of mocked up. You can see the I Did It mount there, that Chevy style mount up in there. It's just mocked up. Unfortunately, this dash, it fits very poorly. It's lifted all the way up. It hits in here, So this would have to be, I have to get in here and get the fiberglass a little bit to lift this up. It's resting right on the steering column now. You'll see it's pinched in there to give me as much clearance as possible. And even this might, I'm not sure if, again, it's just test fit. I'm gonna have to have a seat in place, mock this up, because again, you got a collar here, your steering wheel is, say it's here, roughly. That's not gonna go in much further. This is a 30-inch column, which was recommended for the Cobras that I went with. Sticks out a good ways here, so I do have a little bit of room fore and aft. Again, so it's gonna be set up for me. It's not gonna be a telescoping column. It's gonna be set up how I want it, and then we'll leave it at that. So I'm probably gonna buy one of those pre-made laser cut aluminum dash panels. I may trim this one down and use it as a backing or whatever. It's wrong anyway. It shouldn't have that drop down. The 289 cars have the drop down, not the 427 cars. It just looks wrong. I mean, this is a replica of a 427 body, so they got the cap on this, the gas cap. They was set up, one set up for a a 289 or a road car, not an SC car, whatever. So that's where I am right now. I have a universal radiator hose kit I'm going to get working on next. So stand by and I'll start hammering my head against the wall on that. All right, so got the wheels mocked up. I forgot to mention a couple things first time. So the fronts actually work out nice because the cap, the little center portion there, when you tighten up the lugs, actually touches the hub face just enough, but keeps it from spinning, keeps the center from spinning, so you can remove that. The back, the lugs are tight, but the whole thing will still spin, so I'm gonna have to address that. I may even be so low tech as to run, electrical tape, a couple of passes around the inside of this just to give it enough friction there. I mean, you can tighten this, you can always tap it with a hammer to get to your lugs. Anyway, I did forget to mention another thing. ET mags or Team 3 wheels, they have a very archaic ordering process. It's like going back in time, so get your time machine ready to the early 90s, because what you do is you print out an order form, you fill it in, you send it in the mail. They don't do online ordering at all. They don't do ordering by phone. So you print out what you want, you send it in, put your credit card information on it, just like we did, old school. I remember doing that stuff in the early 90s. And it did take, it's a really nice product. I talked to Scott on the phone. He wants you to call and confirm that they've received the order. Super nice guy, product is excellent. But it did take 2 months, so fair is fair. I wanted to mention that, archaic, ancient type of ordering there with a piece of paper you send through the snail mail, and they did take 2 months. He had to make a part. He was out of something, I guess. Let's see, what else? So I ended up going underneath. I haven't connected here yet. These two will meet. I need to get a little junction, a little aluminum junction, 3 or 4 inches. I think I'm gonna do a 4-inch here on a Gates power grip clamp, but you can see that those two will meet up. I had to go underneath. I really wanted to go here for neatness, keep that thing up high, but the brake line, I could move the brake line, but it just, the steering, I cannot move, and it just would not fit, come up through this here. You'd think that this being a boot, there's more room, but it's actually super thick right here for the first, right, that boot is solid right up until here, pretty much. So you got to squish the hose, you can run into all kinds of problems. So I have the aluminum, it's not a 45, I don't know what it is, for a bend. Coming up underneath, I'm going to do the junction here, and I'm going to get that licked. Still got to do the top piece into the tank. I got the spacer. The spacer, a Ford part, this is what it's like getting Ford parts from the 70s. It was off just a little bit. I'm gonna have to grind out that spacer. I'll show you guys that when I do it, but I did want to show you this. I did get a win here. I really needed a win. With the belt system, I'm not gonna call it a serpentine system because it's really not. I had to order a longer turnbuckle, and the one I ended up with is, I can't remember what its working dimensions were, but the actual shaft itself is 10 1/4. And what I ended up with is, so you gotta unbuckle, you gotta unbolt the turnbuckle from the alternator, put the belt on, and then you can tighten it. Any other way, you know, this one's too small, this one's too big. To have enough adjustment in it to adjust it enough so the belt would come off and then adjust it enough so that it's taut. It was just too much. I didn't want to, so you're right at the end of your thread travel. It just wasn't good. So even so, look at how much, even with bolting the turnbuckle on after the belt slipped in place, I ended up using, you know, quite a bit of threads. I wouldn't want to go much more than that. You know, the threads are only, you know, say they're a little over inch something long there, you know, if you're not counting the, you know, the jam nut here. Anyway, so that's a 34.6 inch belt for my system. Finally, you know, finally get something that worked out in my favor. Still working on the oil cooler. Got to get some more fittings to do up those lines, and quite honestly, that's another challenge in and of itself, because we got headers going through there, and man, I can't even imagine what the original engineers went through to build these cars. I mean, even though this is a replica, you know, the dimensions, 90-inch wheelbase, the body is an accurate, you know, replica of the aluminum bodies that they made. It's literally shoving 15 pounds of stuff into a 5-pound bag. It is, and those guys put monster, you know, 427 big blocks into theirs, which made things, you know, even that much more difficult. So anyway, we're making a little bit of headway here. Hope you're enjoying the process. Not sure exactly what is coming up next. I got tons of parts. I'm gonna run some bulkhead fittings through right in that area right there for the brakes and for the hydraulic clutch. I bought some fittings there, got some braided line. I got to fabricate something for my pedals, my Willwood clutch and brake pedals. I definitely have that still to go. So as always, my friends, I really appreciate your support. Thank you for watching. Please click subscribe, give me a share to your friends, and please hit that like button. I still respond to all my comments. All right? Take care, my friends. Bye-bye. Cobra.